The Honorable, our speaker today from the Faculty of Law, Universitas Islam Indonesia, the Department of Constitutional Law, Mr. Ahmad Sazali, LC, MH, and then the Honorable Mbak Ayu Iza Elfani, SH, MH, our moderator today, and students and ladies and gentlemen. So this morning, before we start our meeting, we start together by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today, this will be the third day of our hybrid teaching collaboration program with the topic of interdisciplinary approaches in contemporary Islamic law. And today's session is really more about constitutional law and how it's approached in Islamic law. So whether, for example, Mr. Zaid Muhammad will talk about the modern Islamic constitutional law, whether the constitutional law in Islam is modern or not, could be modernized or not. Is there some kind of approach that this constitutional law, the Islamic constitutional law, could be developed? And then Mr. Ahmad Sazali will talk about the interrelationship between religion and state in the contemporary era. So I think this topic will be very interesting today, and hopefully that today we will get more knowledge and also benefits from our meeting today. And as you can understand that the hybrid teaching collaboration program has been started since 2018 because we made some kind of good cooperation with our partner university in Coventry University. I still remember that the first time we established this program, the name was Collaborative Online International Learning, or COIL program. But right now it is much more developed, and we established this program as regular event in our study program. So hopefully the students will gather more knowledge, more insights, even related to the Islamic law, only for this program this week. So thank you very much for joining us, and I do hope that you could get more from the speakers. Please feel free to ask them, because we invite Dr. Zaid. It's not very easy, from Malaysia, and he loves Indonesia so much. That's the important thing. I was his student as well, 20 years ago, or 10 or 12 years ago. So I was his student as well. So I know him very expertise on Asyasah, or in Islamic constitutional law. So please get more understandings from them. And also Mr. Ahmad Zazali is also graduated from Egypt, Al-Azhar, Cairo. So he's also an expert, and he just published his book chapter and published in Springer International. So they write about international criminal law and its approach in Islamic law. So I think he is also an expert on that. So please feel free questions and so on. Feel free to ask questions and so on. So thank you very much for coming and for the speakers. And without further ado, I will give directly the session to our moderator, Mbak Ayu Iza. So you can have the time to manage the time for, I think, before 11:30. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Dodi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. All praise to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The Honorable, the Head of Undergraduate Program of Faculty of Law, Universitas Islam Indonesia, Bapak Dodi Setiawan, SH, MH, LLM, PhD. The Honorable, the Secretary of International Undergraduate Program, Faculty of Law, Universitas Islam Indonesia, Ibu Dr. Aroma Elmina Marta. The Honorable, all academic members of Faculty of Law, Universitas Islam Indonesia, and also our distinguished speakers, Bapak Zaid Muhammad, LLB, LLM, PhD. Good morning, Bapak Zaid. Thank you for coming today. And also Bapak Ahmad Sazali, LCMH. Good morning, Pak Sazali. Thank you for coming to our agenda today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending our event today to both our online participants and also our offline participants. Before we start our main agenda today, we will have like the brief Q&A session for around 30 minutes at the end of our discussion. You may ask directly, or for those who join us via Zoom, you can write your question in the chat box, and I will read it for you during our Q&A session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's start our main agenda today, which is Hybrid Teaching Collaboration Program with the theme Interdisciplinary Approaches in Contemporary Islamic Constitutional Law. The first speaker is Bapak Zaid Muhammad, LLB, LLM PhD. Bapak Zaid PhD obtained LLB from University Kuwait, and also LLM regarding comparative law from University of Kent, England, and PhD regarding Islamic constitutional law from the University of Edinburgh, Scotland. And Dr. Zaid is like a former assistant professor in the International Islamic University of Malaysia. Bapak Zaid will explain regarding modern Islamic constitutional law for the next 30 minutes. Bapak, to Bapak Zaid, the time is yours.
I'm quite nervous when the moderator mentioned 30 minutes because the material I prepared is for 2 hours, like yesterday. So I will do the express lecture again, like yesterday. You get the notes. So if you cannot see, because some writing are. Because this PowerPoint is not professionally done, so some of letters are small in size. So if you cannot see there, you see in the notes, yeah. And then I will do it fast to cover as much as I can, like I did yesterday. Okay. So when I got the topic modern Islamic constitutional law, I took 2 days to adjust my mind how to approach this topic. The problem is nowadays there is no country implementing Islamic constitutional law per se, but there are Muslim countries where their constitutions contain Islamic elements, but there is no one has the pure Islamic constitutional principles. So I was thinking of how to approach this topic. So what I do is I will give you the international constitutional law proper, and then I will take one country that we call Muslim country, is not Islamic country. We talked already yesterday that Malaysia is not Islamic country. It's not Islamic state. It is a secular state, and most Muslim countries nowadays are secular states, and they don't use Islamic constitution. So what I do is I will give you the proper Islamic constitutional law. We discuss the proper principles, and then I take Malaysia as a case study for this purpose. Okay. Because without understanding the proper principles, the original one, still we get problem, to understand the topic. Okay, I think that better that way. Okay. Huh? Not working? Okay. And, okay. Okay. Now this is my introduction. You need to see it again? No, you don't need. Or maybe you need the hobbies. Because normally we know people through hobbies, right? When you know their hobbies, then you know what type of person he is. So these are my hobbies: mountain climbing. I've been to Everest, jungle trekking, scuba diving, karate, backpacking, long distance running, marathon, and then bowling. So I think from these hobbies, you're not the type of person I am. Okay, this is the content. These are the contents which I'm going to talk to you today. I go fast. Okay, first introduction. I will cover Sahifa al-Madinah Constitution. Madinah as a state, because there are discussion whether among the scholars whether Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution or not, because that is the basic of reference to Islamic constitution. But some Western scholars say, oh, Sahifa al-Madinah is not a constitution. You can argue Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution. And Madinah is a state, because when you have a constitution, then that constitution is for which state? So that constitution is for Madinah. And then relation between state and religion, our brother Sazali will talk about it. But I will just go through a little bit. Yeah? And then we go, this is the constitutional principles, Islamic constitutional principles per se, okay? There are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, a dozen. Okay? So, first, sovereignty of Allah. Second, vicegerency of man. Universality of the Ummah. I came to know that there is one from Australia. The sister? Taran, from which city here? Perth, okay. I've been to Sydney. Okay. If you don't understand the, I will try to simplify as much as I can, because there are probably those who don't have the basic knowledge on this. Maybe you have some problems with the terminologies. Like Ummah, I don't know whether you're familiar with it. So I will explain just fast. Yeah. Okay. And then unity of leadership, obedience to the leader, the head of state, accountability for the leader of accountability of the leader, the head of state, bay'ah. You see, maybe you have a problem with this. Bay'ah to the leader. Bay'ah means allegiance. Your promise to obey and to follow, to help the leader. Individuality of responsibility, justice, equality, freedom, and shura. Shura is like consultation, but it's not really like consultation, so I just put that. So you don't understand that shura is a car. Okay. And then the second topic, we focus on the leader, the head of state. You know, the modern constitutional law, normally you focus on the rights of citizens. But the Islamic law, you focus on the top. So the right come in the secondary. Modern constitution, they focus on the people and as if the leader doesn't exist. So Islamic law is opposite. So the hukum means the rule. Ruling in the Quran or Hadith, you know, the hukum of the leader or the hukum, or again, I have checked last night, but it still happened. The hukum of the appointment of the leader, the head of the state. The methods of the appointment of the leader. I put the head of state because, you know, we in the Islamic constitution, we don't call it head of state. That is equivalent to modern terminology. Because Ummah, although we can, you know, the elements is almost the same, like a state, but the concept is different. But modern term, I just put the head of state just to make things easy to understand. Okay, qualification of the leader, a Muslim. So the head of Islamic State must be a Muslim, a man, free status, of age, sound mind, righteous, brave, capable, perfect senses, perfect limbs, and descent of Quraysh. Is a tribe in the Arab. But we go to discussion on that. And then rights of the leader. One, the rights of the leader. Obedience by the Ummah. We don't call citizens normally, but I just put the equivalent terminology. Assistance from the Ummah. The Ummah is like citizen, the members of the state. And then salary, allowance, and another right is legislating law. In Islamic, you see, I call it again the state to make things easy for you to understand. But the Ummah is, bear in mind that I will explain because there is a topic on the Ummah, what Ummah is. So, but here today I use state, I use Islamic state. Because I think, because in the modern time, you understand that this political organization, all are known as a state in the modern time. But we, in Islamic constitutional law, we don't call it state. We call it Ummah. Yeah? So, see what's the difference. So, legislating law is the right of the leader. It's not the right of the parliament. And again, we don't have parliament. We have what we call it Majlis Ashura, which is different from parliament. Because parliament legislates law. Majlis Ashura does not legislate law. We have like, Majlis Ashura is like parliament, you know, people are elected as a representative of people, but the function of Majlis Ashura does not legislate like parliament. Parliament, the main function of parliament is legislating law. But Majlis Ashura, the organization is like parliament, but the function is not legislating law. The main function of Majlis Ashura is to advise the leader. Okay? So, legislative law in the Islamic political organization is the right of the leader. Is the right. But the point we must understand is that the leader, before making decision, the leader must go to the people, consult the people seriously, and take the opinion of the people. And again, we come across, we will come later on. The voice of majority does not bind the head of state. Maybe, in the matters of law, there are split opinions, one majority, another minority. But the head of state is not bound by the voice of majority. Like in the parliament. In the parliament, you take the voice of majority, right? But in the matters of law, no, it's not necessary. The consultation is a must, it's obligatory on the head of state, but when making decision, it is the right of the head of state. It's not the right option. People have the right to give opinion, but they don't have the right to decide. So that is, you see the difference. Duties of the leader of the state, one, these are the main duties of the leader. To implement Sharia in the Islamic territory. Okay? To implement Sharia in the Islamic territory. It's not the duty of the head of state to the leader to appoint outside the territory. So only inside the Islamic territory. Second, to take care of the Ummah. And third, to carry out da'wah. So da'wah means, da'wah? Okay, da'wah is calling people to Islam. Yeah? That is the duty, one of the main duties of the head of Islamic political organization. Okay. To carry da'wah to the world. Okay? And then, six, dismissal of the leader. The reason for dismissal, losing any qualification, incapability of carrying out duties, and method of dismissal. Okay. Next topic will be the concept of ummah. So, in a modern state, in the modern constitution, we call state, but in Islamic constitution, we call ummah. Okay. What is state? What is state? State is. You have taken international law or no? I just want to differentiate between state and ummah, so you have a clear idea. Okay, we come later. Okay. Group of people live permanently on a portion of land within which there is a government or ruling group and sovereignty over themselves, the control over themselves, so they can have a relationship. Okay. If you have taken international law, there is another one which is under discussion, whether recognition by another country is element or not. But that is not what you call it, not agreed upon juries of constitution. Okay, right. And then we go to right of zimmi. Zimmi means non-Muslim citizens because it is a sensitive issue. So we cover the topic. Right of zimmi. I think today. This Islamic political organization, which is called Ummah, I just mentioned the word Islamic State. Okay? That is the common word we use. But bear in mind there is some differences. Okay. Rights of the Zimmi or non-Muslim citizens of the Islamic State. Protection, security. They have the right to security to live peacefully in the state. So it is the responsibility of the head of the Islamic State to take care of them. Yeah, we see the authority later on. You know how serious the authority is. And then equality. Muslim or non-Muslims are equal. Yeah, with certain exception. You know, like tax. You know, there is a special tax for Muslims and a special tax for non-Muslims. Okay? But otherwise, all others are equal. And then freedom of religion. So there is no, the Islamic State has no right to force any non-Muslims to become Muslims. Okay, so there is freedom of religion, and then enjoying their own personal law. Other laws, all citizens are equal. So criminal law, the non-Muslim citizen have to obey the Islamic law. Because there are no two law, but except personal law, like marriage, divorce, and all those related to personal law. So personal law, you know, like food, eating, drinking, all those non-Muslim have their own, they can follow their own personal law. But other laws like civil law, transaction, criminal law, all other laws must be one law in the Islamic State, which is Islamic. Okay. And duties of Zimmis, there are two duties, main duties. One, obeying the leader or obeying the head of state. The meaning is obeying the Sharia. So all citizens, Muslim or non-Muslims, they have to obey the Sharia, except the personal law. And paying jizya. Jizya is tax on the non-Muslim citizens only. And on don't say, oh, it is not fair why you have a tax on non-Muslims. But the question is, there are a lot of tax on Muslims. So here is not the issue of equality, but issue of justice. So it is just. There is tax on Muslims and there is tax on non-Muslim. Jizya is not much. How much the tax of jizya? It is only 1 year, equal to expenses of one family for 10 days. Not much. Okay? And then we come to Shura, which is we translate to consultation. We discuss definition, similarity between Shura and democracy. This is interesting. Shura and democracy, differences between Shura and democracy, because Shura is not democracy, democracy is not Shura. Although they are both consultation, but not the same. We look at in terms of sovereignty, in terms of sources of legislation, in terms of second will, and in terms of decision making. And legality of Shura, benefits of Shura, the scope of Shura, in which area you should consult and which area you are not allowed to consult. In democracy, you can consult in all areas of life. But in Shura, no, it is not in all areas. The areas which are already clearly mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah, you know Sunnah? Sunnah is the practice by the prophets, by Prophet Muhammad. So whether in the form of action or words or approval. So that is what we call Sunnah. Okay? So that is, Sunnah is one of the two main sources of legislation. One is Quran, another one is Sunnah. Because Quran is from God, but Sunnah is from the prophets. Okay? And then membership of Majlis al-Shura, who can become members of Majlis al-Shura. Majlis al-Shura, you can imagine as parliament. Okay? And jurisdiction of Majlis al-Shura. Then case study. The case study we take Malaysia because I'm Malaysian, so it is easy for me to explain. Otherwise, if I take Iran or Afghanistan or Egypt or Pakistan, I will get some trouble. You know? Okay, we will focus on this. In Malaysia, I have explained yesterday, so I'm not going to explain again. Malaysia is a secular state that is stated in the constitution. And then Islam is a religion of federation, I explained yesterday. Islamic law is a state jurisdiction, I have already explained yesterday. Same people or not? Or there are new people who did not attend yesterday? Have you all attended yesterday? You attended, yeah. And who are new? So I can, if you are new, then I go fast. New, you didn't attend yesterday. You attended? Okay, new. Raise your hand, new ones? Okay, so I need to explain. I need to explain. So those who came yesterday can sleep for a while. Okay, Islamic law is limited to personal law, religious offenses, and religious matters. Islamic law is only applicable to Muslims. This is in Malaysia, yeah? Malaysian Federal Constitution. Non-Muslim citizen has freedom of religion. Non-Muslims are not allowed to propagate other religion to Muslims in Malaysia. You go to jail. So that is stated in the Constitution. And Malays are not allowed to convert to other religions. Only Malays. Strange law. Very strange law. Only Malays are not allowed to convert. Although legally. Although practically you are already Hindus, you are already Christians, you married a Christian husband, or you married a Christian wife, but legally you are still a Muslim if you are Malays. Other Malays can change, but Malays are not allowed to change religion because Malays must be Muslims by law. So that's why you cannot find Malay Christians in Malaysia. Even they go to church, everything in practice, the person is not Muslim anymore in practice. But legally, you are Muslims. So when you die, you will go to Muslim graveyard. That is in Malaysia. Strange. It's strange. Okay. The king and the head of each state must be a Muslim, and the jurisdiction of Sharia court is only limited to fine 5,000 ringgit, imprisonment of 3 years, and 6 lashes of whipping. Okay, let's go in detail. Now, Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution. Because there is a discussion on this, some scholars say no, it is not constitution, and therefore Medina is not a state. Okay. Look at the modern definition of constitutional law, and then we compare with Sahifa al-Madinah, so we can have an answer whether constitution Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution. Okay, Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution during Prophet Muhammad. Yeah. Okay. Modern definition of constitutional law. I took from Jennings, but it is not precise. I think constitutional law is the law of constitution, the fundamental law which determines the authorities and general powers which they exercise. I'm not comfortable with this mistake. Okay, so it's only related to authorities and powers, related to legislative, executive, and judicial. It's also very simple. So, because if according to this constitution, definitely Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution, because in Sahifa al-Madinah you have executive person, you have legislative person, and you have judicial person. So, but others, like Hood Phillips, Keith, and the Smith, and Irving Stevens, they have a more complex definition. So I summarize. I put my own um, definition. Constitutional law is a set of legal rules which regulates relationship between organs of state. So organs, there are three now. One, you know, in the Islamic state, it's not like this, not three like this. But in the modern state, three. One, legislative parliament, executive, the, what do you call it, the cabinets, and judicial judges, okay, the courts. So, regulate relationship between organs of state, defines citizenship, the rights and duties of citizens, and defines the territory of states. So how many elements there? Organs of state, legislative, executive, judicial, citizenship, rights of citizen, duties of citizen, and territories. So you have, the number is wrong again, 5 elements. So these elements all exist in Sahih al-Madinah. Okay, organs of state, legislative, Article 1. Article 1, this document is from Muhammad. So Muhammad is the head of Medina, the executive, governing the relation between the believers and Muslims of Quraysh and Yathrib and those who followed them, joined them, and labored with them. So, who governs Medina? It's Muhammad. Okay? Okay. Executive, none of them shall go out. This is Article 36 of Sahih al-Madinah. None of them shall go out from Medina except with the permission of Muhammad. It's executive. Judicial, when a matter is disputed, it must be referred to Allah and Muhammad. So, you have legislative, you have executive, and you have judicial. According to Jennings, it's already a constitution. But according to others, not yet. Okay? According to others, you need to have citizens. Of course, there are citizens there. They are one ummah to the exclusion of men. So one ummah. Okay? Article 25, the Jews of Bani Auf are one ummah with the believers, and the Jews have their religion, and the Muslims have theirs. So I need to explain this main point of the meaning of ummah. The ummah, the Islamic ummah, it is not necessarily the members of the Islamic ummah are not necessarily Muslims, because non-Muslims also can be members of the ummah. You know, like 25, the Jews of Banu Auf are one ummah with the believers. So they are members of the Islamic ummah. You know, because nowadays, you know, the media, from the media we understand what is the ummah. The ummah is a group of people who share the same religion. That is not right. So in the media, they define Islamic ummah. Islamic ummah is a group of people who share Islam. So you have members of ummah in Russia, in China, in America, in Australia, but that is not ummah. That is not ummah because it doesn't have enough elements. So all others, you know, articles I mentioned underneath, there are other tribes, not only Banu Auf, but there are 10 other tribes, okay, included in the ummah. Okay, right of citizens. Is there? In Sahih al-Madinah? Yes. Sahih 25, Article 25. The Jews have their religion and Muslims have theirs. Freedom of religion. There is right of people. Right of citizens. Duties of citizens. Mentioned. The Jews shall contribute to the cause of war as long as they are fighting alongside with the Muslims. So the Jews, non-Muslims also, they have to pay to defend the country. That is this, right? A lot of others, but I cannot mention all because time is limited. So if you read Sahih al-Madinah, then you can find other articles. 44, the contracting parties, Muslim and non-Muslim, are bound to help each other against any attack on Yathrib. Okay, that is duties. Territory. Is it mentioned in Sahih Madinah? Yes. Yathrib shall be, Yathrib is Medina, shall be a sanctuary for the people of this document. So, sanctuary means a sacred place, you defend. You stay there and you defend. So all these authorities in Sahih Madinah prove that Sahih Madinah is a constitution according to modern definition. Let's go to Medina first. Okay, I've already read the definition of state. A group of people living in a portion of land within which there are a ruling group, citizens, and sovereignty. Wrong words there. It's not citizen. Ruling group. That should not be there. Ruling group and sovereignty over themselves. So you have how many elements? A group of people, territory, ruling group, government, and sovereignty. Okay, all these elements exist in Sahih Madinah. A group of people, already mentioned Article 1, Article 25, and other articles there underneath. And then territory, already mentioned. And then a ruling group, also already mentioned Article 1, Article 23, and Article 36. The first is the legislative, second is executive, and third is judicial. Sovereignty, yes. That's three. I mentioned already in 39. So these authorities prove that Medina is a state, according to modern definition, because all elements are there. Okay, short explanation of this relationship between politics and religion in Islam. Okay, Islam does not separate politics from religion. In Islam, politics is a part of religion. Okay, it's not other religion. Other religion doesn't have politics inside. Okay, next authority. Prophet Muhammad was the head of state, the legislator, the judge, and then a legal rule. We have in Islamic law, anything without which an obligation cannot be performed is obligatory. So, executing or implementing Sharia is obligatory. Then you need an establishment to execute. So, establishing an establishment for executing or implementing the Sharia is obligatory. Without that, the Sharia cannot be implemented. So the logic, without political power, Sharia cannot be implemented. Implementing Sharia is compulsory, therefore establishing political power becomes obligatory. Okay? Relationship between politics and Islam may be better understood in definition of Islam by Hassan al-Banna. This is the definition of Islam. Islam is a faith and ritual, nation and nationality, religion and state, spirit and deed, holy text and thought. And the statement by Edward Young. Edward Young is a Western ulama on Islam. He says to this day, religion and politics in Mahometan countries are one. Mahometan is Muslim. Okay, now we go to, this is important before we go to the case study. This is the most important part of Islamic constitutional law. You should understand the principle. So there are a dozen of principles. Then I leave to you, you use these principles, then you open any constitution in the world, especially Muslim countries' constitutions, then you can decide whether that constitution is Islamic or not. So you have more power to decide yourself. Okay? First, sovereignty of Allah. Sovereignty means the highest power. So in the Islamic state or in Islamic political organization, the highest power is in the hand of Allah. While in a secular state, I compare with a secular state, like democratic state, in democratic state, the sovereignty belongs to human. So human decide everything. But in Islamic constitution, the one who decide main things decided by Allah. Okay, because Allah is the highest, possess the highest power, sovereignty. These are the authorities. You know, Article 23, when a matter is disputed, it must refer to Allah and Muhammad. Number 42, if any dispute, controversy likely to happen to cause trouble among the people of this document should arise, it must be referred to Allah and Muhammad, Rasulullah. So the word Rasulullah, although Muhammad existed in Medina, but he is not the highest power. The highest power in the hand of Allah, because he is only Rasulullah. He is only the messenger. He only bring the message or the rule from Allah. Number 2, so if you have that one in the constitution, you can call that one is Islamic, but you look at other elements as well. Vicegerency of man. Vicegerency of man means the representative of God, Khilafah. So, like Article 1, the Khilafah means the one who administer the organization is man. It's not God himself. So, God appointed human men to administer the political organization. So that is what we call it, vicegerency of man, or Khilafat al-Insan. Article 1, I've already read. And Surah Al-Baqarah in the Quran says, you know, when, you know, human coming down to the earth, we have no knowledge that human exists in other planets. We have how many trillions of planets? In the Quran only mention the earth. God only sent human to the earth. So there's no knowledge. As far as, you know, scientists discover, there is no knowledge, but but in the Quran, maybe there are other creation outside there, because the Quran says what? Man fis samawati wal ard. Man is living creation. Man fis samawati wal ard. Man fil ard, human, genies, animals. But man fis samawat, who? Well, we don't know. Angels, or I don't know. But maybe. But in the Quran, only mention that Allah sent human only to earth. Okay? So the Quran says when they sent Adam to the earth, the first man, the Quran says, I will create a vicegerent. I will create a Khalifa on earth. Okay? Next, number 3, universality of Ummah. You know, the state is not universal. State has territory, fixed territory. But Ummah is not fixed. So you see the history of the Ummah from Medina, the small area of Medina, and then go to the Arab Peninsula, and then go to the Eastern Russia, China, and then went to Europe, and you know, all this. So the Ummah is spending. State doesn't spend. Expand, okay? So they are one Ummah, you know, the University of the Ummah. These are the authorities. They are one Ummah to the Association of Men, the Jews of Bani Auf, one Ummah, a lot more authorities in the Quran. And the membership of the Islamic Ummah does not only confine to Muslims. Non-Muslim also can be members of Muslim Ummah. Okay? And another point which I mentioned later on, Muslims who do not live in the Islamic territory, they are not members of the Ummah. I will come to this. Unity of leadership. This is the next principle. unity of leadership. What is the meaning of unity of leadership? Throughout the world, the leader must be one. Not like now, you have Jokowi, you have Anwar Ibrahim, you have King Salman, you have... This is not Islamic. So Muslims, Ummah, must be under one leader throughout the world. So the Islamic State is universal. Okay? So that is what we call unity of leadership. So the leader of the Ummah must be one, not many like today. This is not Islamic. Hadith, we read the Hadith. This is saying of the Prophet. It is not permitted for 3 people to be in any part of the earth without appointing a leader. Leader must be one leader. Hadith, when 3 persons are out in a journey, not only living permanently there, but also moving, they should appoint a leader among themselves. Leadership is compulsory in Islam. Okay? And hadith, this is, you need to remember until you are transferred to another world. When 2 caliphs, 2 leaders are appointed, kill the one who is appointed later. That means the one who appointed later is not valid, is not legitimate. Because the leader for the Islamic Ummah must be one. Must be one. That's why in the history, even the territory from Spain, Islamic territory from Spain to China, the leader only one. You imagine there is no handphone, there is no phone, there is no, technology. You imagine how did they manage this throughout the world? So they say, people say impossible to create one world, one leadership for one world. Impossible? We have technology now. Even when they did not have technology, they did it. So that is the rule. Next. Obedience to the leader. Next principle, obedience to the leader. So the citizens or the members of the Ummah must obey the leader. So this is the authority for that. When a matter disputed, it must be referred to Allah and Muhammad. None of them shall go out from Medina except with the permission of Muhammad. This is all about obedience. And Al-Quran An-Nisa 59, obey Allah, ati'ullah, obey the messenger and those who are in charge with the leader. Okay? Hadith says what? Listening and obeying are duties as long as one is not ordered to commit sin. When one is ordered to commit sin, there should not be listening or obeying. Okay. Next principle, accountability of the leader. Yeah. So leader must be accountable, and the members of the Ummah have the right to correct the leader, even to dismiss the leader. Okay. So these are the authority. Yeah. Anyone who sees an evil, he should change by hand. If he is incapable to change by hand, he should change by tongue. If he is incapable to change by tongue, he should change by heart. That means do the dua and hope, the evil will go. But that is the weakest faith. Okay. And the hadith says the best jihad. Jihad is jihad is a defensive, what do you call it? Defensive fighting. Yeah, defensive fighting. It's not offensive. Offensive is not jihad. So Muslim state or Muslim political organization, they cannot attack others. Not allowed to attack others, except if they are attacked. So defending the attack is called jihad. So the best jihad is saying the truth before an unjust ruler. Okay, zalim, lalim. Okay. Next, bay'ah. Bay'ah is the allegiance. You know, the promise to obey, the promise to help the leader when the leader is appointed. So the hadith is anyone who dies while there is no bay'ah on his shoulder, that means he has not done any bay'ah to the head, to the leader, Muslim leader, he dies the death of Jahiliyah. Death of Jahiliyah means death as a non-Muslims. Okay? And ijma, the appointment of all the 4 guided caliph after the Prophet were done by bay'ah. Okay? Individuality of responsibility. That means everybody is responsible for his own acts. This is a new principle introduced by Prophet 1,500 years ago, because before the Prophet there is another principle practiced in the society. They call it collective responsibility. So anyone in the group commit sin or commit evil, the whole group is punished. But that is not Islamic. So this Article 38 denies that principle. Collective responsibility. So everybody is responsible for his act. This is not issue now because the whole world are using this principle. And the Quran says, no bearer of sin bears another's sin. Justice. Okay, this is one of the purposes of having a political organization to practice justice among the members. So Article 47 of Sahih Madinah says, this document will not protect the unjust and the sinner, because the purpose of the organization is to implement justice. Al-Quran An-Nahl, Allah commands you to do justice and mercy. An-Nisa 59, when you judge, judge with justice. And Al-Ma'idah 8, do not let the hatred toward a certain people divert you from being unjust. Yeah? So justice is the main principle of Islamic constitutional law. A lot more in the Quran and Hadith. Equality. So everybody in the Islamic organization, political organization, must be are equal. Okay, regardless of color, regardless of origin, regardless of religion, regardless of race. You know, all members of the organization, political organization, are equal. So what is the authority? Article 16 of Sahih Madinah. The Jews who followed us are entitled to assistance and equality. They are Muslim, we call it now today Muslim citizens, non-Muslim citizens, but they have the equality in the organization. Hadith. All men are equal, like the teeth of a comb. An Arab is not superior over non-Arab except by piety. There is a lot more authority in the Quran and Ijma. Okay, freedom. Another principle in Islamic constitutional law is freedom. So these are the authority examples. Number 25, the Jews of Bani Auf are one ummah with the believers. The Jews have their religion and the Muslims have theirs. Freedom of religion. And in the Quran, Al-Baqarah 256, there should not be forced to enter the religion. The religion here is Islam. So there is no one should be forced to enter the religion. And Al-Kafirun 6, for you your religion and for me your religion. That is the concept in the Islamic constitutional law. So non-Muslim can have their religion and Muslim have their religion. Where is freedom? Shura. I missed one word there. Now the last one, the last principle is Shura. Should be I, JKL. Should be have Shura there. So the authority for Shura, okay, their affairs are conducted by consultation, by Shura. And then the best jihad Oh, sorry. Sorry. This is still under freedom of opinion. Sorry. Yeah. So on Shura, freedom of opinion. So the members of the organization, the members of citizens of the state have the right to give opinion to the ruler. Hadith, the best jihad, I have already read. And then this is the ijma. Okay, ijma is the agreement among the Muslims. Okay. So saying of Abu Bakr, I have been given authority over you. I'm not the best of you. If I do well, no W there. If I do well, help me. If I do ill, put me right. Obey me as long as I obey Allah. When I disobey Allah, you do not have to obey me. Okay, so this is freedom under freedom of. Okay, but freedom in Islam is not unlimited. It is limited. So this is the limitation. Al-Quran Ahzab 31, limitation is believers cannot express or cannot decide when certain matters have been decided by Allah and Muhammad clearly in the Quran and Sunnah. You know, like prayers 5 times a day is only decided. So there is no opinion on that. Not free. Fasting in Ramadan, you don't fasting in Rajab or can we change, discuss in parliament in Majlis Shura, can we change Ramadan to another month? No, cannot. Because that has been decided. Can we go to Hajj to Bali, not to Makkah? No, cannot. Because Hajj must be in Makkah. So a believer, man or woman, has no right to choose any other way when Allah and His Messenger have decided in certain matter. So Shura only can be done only when the matters are not clearly mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. Okay? So that's the limit. Next, Shura. I think, is this the last one? Last principle? So Shura is we can translate roughly to consultation. So any decision in the Islamic political organization or Islamic state must be done through Shura. So the head of state, before deciding, because the right of legislation is the right of head of state. So the head of state, but he cannot make decision by his own opinion. He must consult the people. Consultation is compulsory. So before making decision, go and consult. And he cannot abuse also his power. Because abuse of power is prohibited. So when he consult the people, people give opinion, he should consider all the opinions and he make decision. So people do not make decision. So Shura 38, those who responded to their Lord, perform prayers, their affairs are conducted by consultation and pay zakat. Consult them in the matter when you have decided, submit the matter to Allah. I remember Ali Imran 159. You need to concentrate on this. You know, when you have decided in Arabic, I think some of you know Arabic, right? You know the Mufrad, Mutana, Jama, all those things. Okay? So in Arabic, you have decided, when you have decided, the word is فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ. So Allah doesn't say وَشَاوِرُهُمْ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتُمْ. No. Not you all decided. No. So وَشَاوِرْهُمْ, it is addressed to the leader because it's mufrad. وَشَاوِرْ. Whom? They, them. Who are them? The citizens, the people. So the leader should consult the leader, but what is next? فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ, not فَإِذَا عَزَمْتُمْ. In in Arabic. So when you alone decided. So that's why this verse proves that the decision is the right of the head of state. The legislation is the right of the head of state. Okay? A lot more authorities I cannot mention, so you study more. Okay, the leader. Next topic. So we have finished. How many more minutes? Okay. Huh? 20 more. Okay, good. I think we can finish. The leader of the head of state. Okay? Now the focus on the leader. Normally in a modern constitution, the focus is on the people, but this is opposite. So we stress on the obedience. We don't stress on the complaining. You know, modern constitutional law stress on complaining, but now we stress on the obedience. Okay, the leader or the head of state. Number one, the hukum, or the appointment of the leader. The hukum is the rule related to the appointment of the leader. So I mentioned already that the appointment of the leader is compulsory. So Muslims, group of Muslims are not permitted to live on this earth without a leader. It's compulsory. Otherwise, everybody is sinful. Okay? But bear in mind that the leaders we have now is not according to this rule. We are talking about according to this rule. So as long as we don't have the leader according to this rule, we are all sinful. So don't think that we are guaranteed to go to paradise when we pray 5 times a day. So the political responsibility is still there. Okay, and then this already mentioned. Okay. What is another authority which I mentioned here, that the leadership is compulsory? You know what happened when the prophet died? When the prophet passed away, the companion left the dead body of the prophet for 3 days. We don't leave the dead body, we go and bury them immediately, right? Because in Islam, there are 3 things must be done as quick as possible. Yeah? Number 1, the dead body. When a person dies, must be washed and wrapped and put in the ground, under the ground. As soon as possible. You know, living in the parliament for 1 month is not Islamic. Okay? When the leader dies, and you put in the parliament for people to respect, that is not Islamic. No. Because the body should be buried as soon as possible. Number 2, in Islam. Loan or money we borrowed. Okay? Debt must be paid as soon as you have money. That in Islam. Don't go and buy a handphone first. If you have debt, you get money, you have to pay debt first. As long as you have not paid debt, you are sinful. If you go to buy handphone first, and then you leave your debt unpaid, you are sinful. Number 3, girls. When girls express that they want to get married, then the parent should allow as soon as possible. There is 3 things in Islam. Men, okay. You know, boys, if you want to get married, you can delay. You know, but not girls. In Islam, girls, when they express to get married, then the parent should arrange as soon as possible. Okay? What is the reason? You think about it. Okay. Method of appointment of the leader. How to appoint. The appointment is by consultation and nomination of by. We want to know how these successors of the prophet appointed. So these are the stories. I just go through quickly. Okay, we look at appointment of Abu Bakr. Appointment of Abu Bakr, Muhajirin first. Muhajirun are the immigrants from Mecca to Medina. So this appointment happened in Medina. So Muhajirun claim that the leadership belongs to them. And Ansar, those are Muslims living in Medina, Ansar claim that the leadership belongs to them. And Hubab ibn Munzir, one of the companions, suggested to appoint two leaders because they quarreled, Muhajirin and Ansar. So Hubab ibn Munzir suggested to appoint two leaders, TWO, two leaders, one from Muhajirin and another one from Ansar. But this suggestion was rejected because of the hadith saying that when there are two caliph, kill the one appointed later. So two caliph, two leaders are not allowed in Islam. So it was rejected. And then Umar and Abu Ubaidah suggested Abu Bakr to be the successor. And later on the Muslims agreed and they gave bay'ah to Abu Bakr. Right, next. Appointment of Umar is not complicated. Umar was nominated by Abu Bakr before he died. And then people agreed on the nomination and they gave bay'ah. You notice that at the end, the bay'ah by people all the time. And appointment of Uthman, Umar commanded Muslim to appoint his succession from 10 companions who are guaranteed to enter paradise by the Prophet. Uthman, Ali, Abdul Rahman, Talha, Zubair, Sa'ad, Abu Bakr, Umar, Abu Ubaidah, and Sa'id. These 10 companions are guaranteed to paradise. And Umar said, you people appoint one of them. Okay? And what happened? From 4 of these companions at that time had died. Abu Bakr, Umar, Ubaidah, Sa'id died already. 4 of them withdrew themselves from nomination. Abdul Rahman, Auf, Talha, Zubair, Sa'ad, Abu Bakr, they don't want to be appointed. So left only 2 companions, Uthman and Ali. People give authority to Abdul Rahman to decide between the 2 left, but he did not decide. Instead, he went back to the people asking people to decide. And people decided to choose Abu Bakr. And later on, you see, notice at the end, they gave bay'ah to Abu Bakr. Appointment of Ali. By consultation between Muslims in Medina and Muslims in Iraq, they agreed to appoint Ali bin Abi Talib and gave bay'ah to him. The conclusion, appointment of the leader in Islam must be approved by the people through bay'ah. So bay'ah is one of the principles of Islamic constitutional law. Qualification of a leader. I just go through quickly. One, the head, the leader of Muslim Ummah must be a Muslim. So you have An-Nisa 144. Don't take non-Muslim as leaders. And you have An-Nisa 141. Allah never makes way for unbelievers, over believers. So, and then it should be men, not women. This is sensitive for women. But the jurists, the traditional jurists, unanimously agree that there are 2 posts should not be held by women. One is head, the leader, the head of state, and the second is the chief justice. Others possible. These are ijma. So they based on An-Nisa 43, men are caretakers of women, not women are caretakers of men. Okay? So in our culture, the Malaysian culture, Indonesian culture, it is wrong when you say, I need to get married, I need somebody to take care of me. So if a man says like that, that is a wrong statement. Because it is not the duty of wife to take care of husband. It is the duty of husband to take care of wife. Men are caretakers, not women are caretakers. So I'm telling you, in family law, maybe many of you don't realize this. Anything which related to caring is the duty of husband. So cooking is the duty of husband. It's not the duty of wife. It's not the duty of wife. Because cooking is feeding. Feeding is under caring. Ironing clothes is the duty of husband. It's not the duty of wife. It's not only the duty of husband to iron his own shirts, but it is the duty of husband to iron the wife's shirt. Because that is under taking care. But in our culture, it's opposite. So culture and religion is something different. And then hadith. A nation will never succeed if the affairs are conducted by a woman. Free status, logic, a slave is controlled by his master, doesn't have a freedom to act on his own. Of age of majority. So in Islam you have two opinions. One is 15 years old according to Shafi'i, and 18 years old according to other mazhab. So of age, hadith, the pen is raised up from three groups of people. That means this, what is the meaning of pen? This is pen in the hand of angel. Because your acts are recorded, 24 hours. So this pen is the pen of angel. Angel does not record for these three groups of people. From a sleeping person until he wakes up. Okay? So whatever you do during your sleeping is not recorded. So if you want to do evil, you do it during sleeping. From a minor until he reaches the age of majority, baligh. Okay? A minor is a small children. And from an insane person until he is conscious. So what you do during your insanity is also okay. So sound mind, okay? So same hadith, and then righteous. The person must be righteous. Righteous means what? Righteous means must be a good person. Righteous person means a good person. So the leader must be a good person. But what is the meaning of good person? So Imam Shafi'i defines clearly what is a good person. A good person is, it doesn't mean the person doesn't have sin. No. Because no person in the world on earth doesn't have sin. Even Prophet Muhammad. So all human have sins. But but Prophet is a good person, right? So what is the meaning of good person here? Good person, according to Shafi'i, is the person who has never committed big sin. So committing small sin does not deny the person as a good person. So, but big sin, because the status of the person, the status of a good person, gone by committing one sin, one big sin. So big sin is, al-mubiqat, like drinking khamar, adultery, fornication, shirk, so all those big sins, okay? So only once committed, then the status of righteous person is gone. So not qualified to be the leader. Okay, next, mujtahid. The leader must be a mujtahid because the leader makes law. So he must be a mujtahid. Mujtahid means a person, there are 4 or 5 elements or requirements. That a person must be knowledgeable with knowledge of Sharia and all those things. Okay. So these are the authorities. I send you the book with truths for you to govern among people. That means to govern what? To legislate, to judge, to execute. Okay? That is the meaning of to govern. So it involves legislating, judging, and executing. So the person who wants to legislate, the person who wants to make judgment, they must have this status as a mujtahid. So the leader must be a mujtahid. Okay, we can understand from the hadith down there, when an ijtihad of a leader is correct, he gets double rewards. And if his ijtihad is wrong, he gets one reward. So we can understand the sense there, the sentence, when ijtihad of a leader. That means the leader who makes ijtihad. Okay, brave. Brave, this is the opinion of Al-Juwaini, one of the scholars who specialize in political siyasa sharia. He says political world is a dangerous world. It is a dangerous world, right? Anybody want to join politics after this? No? No? No one? What, you are going to join entertainment or what? Okay. So, political world is a dangerous world. A political leader has enemies. You see Jokowi, you see Anwar Ibrahim, you see Mahathir. All have enemies. Political leader has enemies and needs to make decisions in dangerous matters. Sometimes you have to kill people. Decision to kill people. If you cannot kill a rat, then you cannot be a leader. you cannot kill a chicken. You know, some people just cannot kill anything. Yeah, but as a leader of a political organization, sometimes you need to decide to kill people, not one, millions. You know, like what Putin is doing in Ukraine now. Killing. It's killing, okay? This needs bravery. If you are chicken, you are... otherwise, the leader cannot function without bravery, okay? Next, capable. The person must be capable. But the meaning of capable is that have enough supporters, which can create stability in the state. Okay? If you are alone, no support, you are not allowed, not permitted to be leader. Okay? So the logic is without having enough supporters, the leader cannot function effectively. Perfect senses. The person must be able to speak, to listen, and to see, because that involves execution, that involves legislation, musyawarah, the consultation, to see, not to allow. SEE. Okay? The logic is a leader cannot function without these senses. If you cannot talk, cannot see, cannot listen, you cannot be a leader. So that is logical. Perfect limbs. Perfect limbs mean you don't have to be perfect, beautiful, handsome like us now. But the meaning of perfect limbs is ability to carry out duties by himself without physically relying on others. So, you know, you can go to war by yourself. You can go to office by yourself. You cannot rely on others. Okay? So, probably if you don't have 2 legs, you are not qualified. If you don't have 2 hands, probably you're not qualified. Okay? So, but if you don't have one ear lift, it's fine. It's still, you're not capable to carry out duties. Or 1 finger lost is okay. But not 2 legs or 2 hands. Okay? Descent of courage. Because this discussion, because there are hadiths. The leaders should be from Quraysh. It's a tribe in Arab during Prophet time. And there are a lot of tribes, but Prophet mentioned in a hadith, all Quraysh, you are the members of this matter, the leadership, as long as you do not disobey Allah. That means the leadership belongs to Quraysh, according to this hadith. But the ijma of jurists say that this requirement is only a preference, not obligatory. So if you have one Indonesian, one Malay, and another Javanese, and Chinese, and Quraysh, same qualification, then you should give to Quraysh. That is the meaning. But it doesn't mean that a Malay, Chinese, or Japanese, European cannot be. Okay? Okay, rights of leaders. Right of leaders. One, obedience by the Ummah. Obey Allah, obey the Messenger, and those who are in charge with authority among you. I have already read. Listen and obeying are duties as long as you are not, one is not ordered to commit sin. I have already read. Assistance from the Ummah. Help each other towards goodness and piety. That means the leader, when they ask you to be judges, they ask you to be officials, they ask you to be ministers, it is compulsory to give that assistance to him. Otherwise, he cannot lead the country. Okay? So that is his right to get assistance from the Ummah. And next, salary and allowance. So leadership is not free job. Many people think that religious matter is a free thing. No, it's not free thing. It's a paid job. It's a paid job. So they have right to get salary and allowance. So the authority is that all four guided caliph, Khulafa Rashidin, took allowances from Baitul Mal, the state treasury. I'm telling you, in a family law, when the wife cook, when the wife iron husband's shirt, when the wife doing job at home, cleaning home, this job, all jobs are husband's job. When the wife doing this, they have to be paid. It's not free job. But many men just keep quiet. And women don't know, and men keep quiet. So the payment never happened. Legislating law, I have already mentioned that the leader has the right to legislate law. And duties of the leader, I have already mentioned, just adding the authority to implement Sharia in the Islamic territory. I send you the book with truths for you to govern among people with what is revealed by Allah. Take care of the Ummah. Every one of you is a caretaker. Every one of you is responsible for his people. And the leader is responsible for his people. To carrying da'wah to the world. Okay? Call to the way of Allah with wisdom and good teaching. Argue with them in the best manner. Jihad is compulsory on you with every leader, good or bad. The meaning is, even the leader is bad. When he asks you to go to jihad, you must obey. Must go. It's compulsory. Yeah. Okay. Dismissal, going to finish soon. Dismissal of the leader, reason of dismissal, losing any qualification. For example, apostasy. He changed, because one of the requirements is he must be a Muslim, right? So when he changed religion, then he should be dismissed. Okay? Evil doing, drinking, khamar, insanity, and then incapable in carrying duties. For example, serious illness like stroke, epilepsy, cannot wake up, and then captured by enemy. So that caused the incapability in carrying out duties. Matter of dismissal should be decided by Mahkamah al-Mazalim. You should study the type of Mahkamah. And then the concept of Ummah. Ummah is political organization, not a religious organization. You should remember that. And the membership does not only confine to Muslims. Okay? Muslims outside the Islamic territory are not the members of Islamic Ummah. So not every Muslim is a member of the Muslim Ummah. So you have Al-Anfal 72. You know, the Quran says to the Prophet, you do not have any duty to protect the believers who have not emigrated. Those who are still in Mecca, because the state is in Medina, but those who have not emigrated, the Prophet does not have any duty to protect them. Okay? Right of zimmi protection, Equality, I mentioned. Freedom of religion, I mentioned. Enjoying their own personal law, I mentioned. So the authority is there. Duties of zimmi, obeying the leader, the authority is there. And paying jizya, this is the authority. I think you can read from my time is gone. and then shura, I have already mentioned. I think I have to do this. This is important. Similarity between shura and democracy, element of consultation. Yeah, similarity between shura and democracy, and involvement of people in decision making. Two elements, same. Democracy looks like shura looks like democracy, but it's not the same. Look at this. Differences between shura and democracy is so big. What is the difference? In terms of sovereignty, in shura, sovereignty belongs to God. But in democracy, sovereignty belongs to parliament, to people, to human. Okay? You can read the authority, right? I just explained the concept. In terms of sources of legislation. In shura, the sources of legislation, Quran and Sunnah. We have to refer to Quran and Sunnah in shura, making decisions. But in democracy, no. You refer to what? Human mind, logic, and human desires. What you want. What people want. Not what God wants. So we are looking for ridal insan, not ridallah, not ridwanullah. So in shura, we are looking for ridwanullah. But in democracy, we are looking for ridwanul nas. Okay? In terms of sacred will, the will which we respect in shura is the will of God, of Allah. But the will we respect, sacred will we respect, in democracy is the will of people. You see the difference? So big. And decision maker, who decides in a shura? Allah. But who decides in democracy? Voice of majority. Voice of majority is right, voice of minority is wrong. In democracy. This is important. I think you should remember this at An'am 116 until you are transferred to another world. This is important. If you obey, remember this is, if you obey the majority of people on earth, this is democracy, right? But the Quran says, if you obey the majority of people on earth, they will mislead you from the way of Allah. That means the majority are wrong, right? According to this verse. But in democracy, the majority are right. You see the difference? So, what to do? You may ask. How to decide? Well, in shura, decision is you go to Quran and Sunnah. But in democracy, you go to the people and ask the majority. But the majority way is not Al-An'am 116. Majority is not the method which the Islamic leader should follow. Okay? The legality you can read, the benefits I think you can read by yourself, because shura has a lot of benefits. And then the scope of shura I have already explained. It is limited by Quran and Sunnah. And then here, is the voice of majority binding on the leader? Okay? So Surah Al-An'am is clear. If you obey the voice of majority of people on earth, they will mislead you from God, from the way of Allah. That means it is not binding. Because you are misled. You go the wrong way. You follow the majority, you go to wrong way. Okay? Probably that is why the world is chaotic now. And, okay? And I have already mentioned the word azamta in the bracket. You see, one person decides. And a lot of sunnah, in the treaty of Hudaybiyah, the Prophet made decision by his own opinion, despite the opinion of companion. He doesn't follow the majority. Abu Bakr also did not follow the majority. Umar, Al-Khattab also did not follow the majority. So the majority concept is not the Islamic constitutional concept. Membership, I have already mentioned, it's not, doesn't conform to Muslims. Anybody can be members, men, women, Muslim, non-Muslims, can be members of Majlis Shura. And this is jurisdiction. I say Majlis Shura does not legislate, but the nature of jurisdiction of Majlis Shura is advisory. Okay? Case study, I just want to mention some points, yeah? Malaysian Federation, I have explained yesterday that Malaysia is a secular law. You can read the authority. And this already mentioned yesterday, because I don't have time to explain to the new ones, but you can refer to Knox. Luckily, I prepared Knox. And Islam, the religion of the Federation, I've already explained. Islamic law, state jurisdiction, was explained. Islamic law, enactment, all this Islamic law enactment in Malaysia, I explained yesterday. And then non-Muslim citizen has freedom of religion. That is Article 3.1. And Article 11, everybody has the right to profess and practice his religion. This is important. Non-Muslims are not allowed to propagate other religion to Muslims. It's mentioned in Article 11.3 of the Federal Malaysian Constitution. They will put in jail. And a lot of cases where non-Muslims are put in jail when they invite Muslims to other religion. I think here is free. So Muslims are protected in Malaysia by Constitution. So that's why there is no, if Christian, Hindu having lectures, they are not allowed to invite Muslims. Invite Muslims is offense. It's an offense. So this is the authority in Article 3.1. Malays must be Muslims and are not allowed to convert to other religion. This mentioned in Article 1. So Malays, in Malaysia, what is the meaning of Malays? Malays means anybody coming from the East Asia. It's not only in Malaysia, no. So all races in Southeast Asia are Malays, according to Malaysian definition. So you are Javanese, you are Sundanese, you are from Padang, you are from Madura, or all, according to Malaysian definition, are Malays. Because the word Nusantara in Indonesia is only in Indonesia. But Nusantara in Malaysia, all countries in Southeast Asia, Nusantara. So Malaysia is Nusantara, Brunei is Nusantara, Singapore is Nusantara. This is Nusantara terminology according to Malaysian Bahasa Melayu. So it's different words. So look at this. Malay means a person who professes the religion of Islam, speaks the Malay language, conform to Malay customs. There is one case in the court. People challenge. The name is Lina. You read the case of Lina Joy. Lina Joy. He is a Malay, and practically he is already a Christian. He goes to church every Sunday and married a Christian husband. Okay? And he challenged that he wants to change, because in a Malaysian KTP, I see, written the religion, whether you're Muslim or Hindu. So he wants to take out the word Muslim from his personal card, his KTP. And he went to the federal courts, and the federal court rejected. So legally, she is still a Muslim. And when she died, she will be buried in a Muslim graveyard. Although now she is Christian. And her marriage is not valid because she is a Muslim. A Muslim should not marry a non-Muslim, except Christian or Jew. And he he cannot have children. He doesn't dare to have children because what is the religion of children? So he doesn't have children. That is a problem. Okay, so the king of the head of state, every state must be a Muslim. This is in the constitution. You mentioned that. You read that. Maka hendaklah raja yang memerintah negeri Terengganu, kerajaan Terengganu selama-lamanya ada ia beragama Islam dan dari bangsa Melayu. Constitution of Johor, save otherwise provided, the sovereign, the king, shall be a person of Malay race, royal blood, and Muslim faith. So the king must be a Muslim because the king coming from the sultan. Yeah. This I have already explained. This is last point, N. Already. If there is contradiction between Islamic law and the secular law, the federal law, the secular law wins. I have explained yesterday. I will repeat again. Because we have Sharia court and we have a national court. Okay? National court is secular. Sharia court, Islamic. But Sharia court is state jurisdiction and the secular court is the national jurisdiction. So if a state jurisdiction, state law contradicts the federal law, I mean if Islamic law, which is state law, contradict the federal law, then federal law prevails. Because Malaysia is secular, it's not Islamic. That's why we say Malaysia is a secular. I just read the last one example. Okay? Maybe for the new people. Akta membaharui undang-undang perkahwinan dan perceraian should not be applied to Muslims because this law is only applicable to Muslims. I remember yesterday I said there are two laws in Malaysia, right? One law for non-Muslim, one law for Muslims. So this law is only for non-Muslims. Okay? But Article 51 of this act provides that if one of the non-Muslim spouses converted to Islam, the one who does not convert has the right to ask petition for a divorce. Ask for divorce, that means this is a Hindu husband and this is a Muslim wife. A Hindu wife. The Hindu wife converted to Islam. So according to Sharia law, the marriage dissolved automatically, right? You don't have to divorce. But according to this law, which is applicable to non-Muslim federal law, the marriage is still there. The only thing is the husband has the right to divorce. So the marriage is still there, and the responsibility of wife and husband is still there, although wife already Muslim. Right? So which one is applicable? This law. The Muslim law is not applicable because the secular law prevails over Muslim law. Unless if when one of the nun becomes convert to another religion, for example, wife, Muslim couple, Muslim husband and Muslim wife, and wife becomes Christian. Okay, wife becomes Christian. So in the Islamic law, it's still okay. Even the wife already convert to another religion, but she convert to a religion where a husband can have a Christian wife, or Jew, become a Jew, Judaism, convert to Judaism. So the marriage is still there. So it doesn't. So that is the meaning of this story. Okay, so I think my time is over more than what I was given. So thank you very much, Matano.
Thank you, Dr. Zaid, for giving us the comprehensive understanding regarding modern Islamic constitutional law, especially regarding the introduction. Firstly, is whether Sahifa al-Madinah is a constitution or not, according to the modern definition, and also several principles in Islamic constitutional, and also the rights of the leader and regarding the right of legislating laws, yeah, which is the right of the leaders, and also another important points pointed by Dr. Zaid regarding that shura and democracy are different, and also the last explanation regarding what if there is a contradiction between state law and federal law in according to Malaysian constitutional law, the federal law will prevail. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will also move to the second speaker, which is Bapak Ahmad Sazali. Bapak Ahmad Sazali LC MH. Bapak Ahmad Sazali obtained a bachelor degree from the Faculty Sharia and Law, University of Al-Azhar, Cairo, and also a Master of Law from the Faculty of Law, Islamic University of Indonesia, especially in the specific law which is constitutional law. Ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ahmad Sazali will explain regarding the interrelationship between religion and state in the contemporary era for the next 30 minutes. To Bapak Ahmad Sazali, the time is yours.
Thank you. May I stand up? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'du. Honorable Mr. Zaid Muhammad and Mbak Ayu Iza. I think 5 or 10 minutes is enough for me. The explanation from Mr. Zaid is, I think, more than enough, yeah, and cover all aspects of Islamic constitutional law. But I just want to do my duty today. I want to share with you about interrelationship between religion and state in the contemporary. Maybe some explanation will be same with the explanation by from Mr. Zaid. So I don't want to repeat again. So I just want to actually I just want to sit here, Mr. Zaid, because about 3 years ago I still remember Mr. Zaid come to my class and visit my class to be guest lecturer, and he also explained in my class about democracy and shura. Yeah, do you still remember? About maybe 2019, yeah, before COVID, yeah, before pandemic. So I want to begin from a phenomena. Yeah, just ice breaking. Please your hand who was supporter of Argentina. Okay, oh, too many. Yeah, because he win. Because they win. Supporter of France? Okay, yeah, yeah. The girl? Do you like football? No? Do you watch football? No? Oh my God. Maybe no, Mr. Zaid? What did you support?
I'm not a fan of football.
Oh, okay, yeah, because his hobbies not include football, yeah.
I'm a fan of foods.
Food. Okay, yeah, after this you may go to some place here to get good food, yeah, from Jogja. Okay, actually, my heart is still crying, yeah, when I remember Brazil was defeated by Croatia. So in the final, I tried to support Messi. I tried to support Argentina. So I read on my status on WhatsApp. Yeah, I try to support Argentina, but my heart pray for France. Yeah, but I don't know. Yesterday my wife asked me why you do not love Messi. Yeah, I don't know. There is no reason. Yeah, because I'm supporter of CR7 maybe. Yeah. Okay. I just want to ask again, who did support Morocco? Morocco, please. Of course, you. Where do you come from? Yemen. Oh, in Yemen. Okay. I just want to ask you, what is your name? Saleh. Why did you support Morocco? Because this is Arab country. Okay. You maybe or you just now raise hand. Yeah. Why did you support Morocco in FIFA? Because from Arab? You also from Arab? Oh no. Okay. You also? No, you support Argentina. When Argentina play with Saudi Arabia, which one did you support? Argentina also? Okay, but Saudi Arabia won't. Yeah. There are many people consider religion when supporting Morocco, right? Yeah. Do you agree with my statement? Yeah. Because of Morocco is Muslim country, so we support them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know some people. Yeah, okay. This is the first phenomenon. Yeah, the first phenomenon, and the second one is the new criminal code of in Indonesia, as you know, KUHP. Yeah, there are many. This criminal code is considered. Surrounded by several controversial issues, yeah, and one of them is about punishment for sex without marriage, that maximum punishment of 1 year in prison, yeah, and there are people assume that if this law or this punishment or this law or this new criminal code influenced by religions, influenced by Islamic religions maybe, yeah. From this phenomenon, I just want to show you that religion is the most important topic that we talk every day. Even we bring the topic of religion to the football field, yeah. And state as well. Okay. That's why I want to talk about what is the interrelationship or the relationship between religion and state. Okay. The religion and state are human needs, so that the religion and state are very intersecting. At least religion and state intersect in 3 aspects. The first is about power, as explained before by Mr. Zaid, that Islam talking about sovereignty. Islam talking about supreme power. The supreme power is belong to God, belong to Allah. Yeah. And state also talk about the power. Yeah. In what hand the power will be, yeah? In the people, belong to God, belong to what? Yeah. This is the intersect, yeah, between religion and state in terms of power. Next one, human interaction. State regulate how to interact between people to people, between human and human. Yeah. As well, religion also teach us how to interact, how to interact between human to human, even human to God. Yeah, hablu minan nas, hablu minallah. Yeah, and the last one, in the aspect of law, of course, just now also Mr. Zaid said that when we always discuss or even debate how if the law of state, the law contradict with a religion state, a religion law. Yeah. In the last explanation, Mr. Zaid said that when federal law in Malaysia contradict with Islamic law, so the winner is federal law. We always talk about the conflict of law of state and law of religion. Yeah. At least in these three aspects, we always talking about how the relationship, how is the relationship between religion and state. So I want to begin from what is the point of view from Islamic perspective, talking about the relationship between religion and state. So I want to begin from the most popular theory talking about relationship between religion and state. The first one is theocracy, and the last one, and the second one is secularism or secular concept. What is theocracy mean? Theocracy mean the rule of God. The rule of God. If I take from Britannica, the Britannica defined that theocracy is government by divine guidance or by officials who are regarded as divinely guided. In many theocracies, government leaders are members of clergy, and the state's legal system is based on religious law. Actually, I don't agree with this definition, because when we agree with this definition, we can classify such as Saudi Arabia or maybe Malaysia in the state, as theocratic state, when Egypt also, when Egypt mentioned in its constitution that Islam is the basis or the formal religion or the official religion of the state, and the basis of legislation in the Egypt is Islam. So we can classify that with this definition, we can classify Egypt, Saudi Arabia, or maybe Malaysia as theocratic state. That's why I don't agree with this statement. So what is theocratic concept according to me? Theocratic is the unification of state power with religious power. Unification, state power in religious power. State power and religious power in one hand. State orders are considered as God orders. In the medieval history, the theocracy actually implemented or exit in the Middle Age of Europe. In the Middle Age of Europe. In the history, the power of head of state or king in the Europe, in the Middle Age, is integrated with the concept of clergy in Christianity, keuskupan, clergy. So that theocracy create an absolute system because what? Because the state cannot to be blamed, because the state orders are considered as a God's order. We cannot opposite the state. When we opposite the state, so assumed that we also opposite God. Yeah, because state order are considered as God's order. Yeah. So, in term, an absolute system make state tyranny system, tyranny state. Yeah, that's why the term theocracy in the modern era, in our modern era, is always described as crime committed in the name of God. Yeah, you can read in the history of Europe, yeah, in the Middle Age. So, because theocratic bring the people of Europe to the injustice situation, so the injustice theocratic system lead to birth of secularism. Yeah, people in the West they feed up with theocratic concept. Yeah, they don't want to be governed by theocratic system anymore. So, people in the West want religion or church, yeah, to be separated from the state and public affair. The religion cannot cannot get into the public affair, cannot get into the government. Yeah, religious group. The separation of religion and state is the foundation of secularism. Religious groups don't interfere in affair of state, and also the state doesn't interfere in religion affair. Yeah. This is the principle of secularism that I have taken from secularism website. Yeah, there is secularism website. There are three principles. The first is separation of religion institution from state institution and a public sphere where religion may practice but not dominate. When religion dominate, that is again secularism. Yeah, this is the most the basic foundation of secularism, separation of religious institution from the state institution. The second is freedom to practice one's faith or belief without harming others, or to change it, or not have one. Yeah, according to one's own conscience. And then, in the secular state, you can be atheist. Yeah. Even you can change, you can convert your belief, your religion. Yeah, this is forbidden. In Malay? Yeah, we cannot convert our religions. The religion is like clothes. Yeah, changing, converting religion is like changing clothes. Yeah, if you want to change, yeah, just change it. This is secular state. Yeah. The last one, equality. Yeah, equality. The sound is similar to Islamic value or Islamic perspective about equality. Yeah. So Islam and state. Actually, I want to begin from this part, yeah, the position of state, but this is all already explained by Mr. Zaid, yeah, about Sunnah, about legitimacy of state, yeah, why we need state, the purpose of state, yeah, to implement the teaching of Quran and Sunnah in society. So the principle I only mentioned 4, but Mr. Zaid, yeah, is very complete. Yeah, mentioned all the principle of state, yeah, according to Islam, Musyawarah al-Shura, yeah, freedom, justice, equality. So I just want to mention this one. So what is the point of view of Islam to theocratic and secular state? According to Muhammad Ali Jum'ah, he was a mufti of Egypt and one of the most the greatest Muslim scholar in the world today. He said that Islam doesn't recognize the concept of secular state and a theocratic state. Yeah. The secular state is not recognized in Islam because what? Because it deconstructs the rule of religion in all aspects of our life, including the life of state. Yeah. And theocracy is not also justified in Islam because what? Because the leader is considered as God's representative. Yeah. Because what? With this concept will bring to the tyranny system. Yeah. To the tyranny system, to injustice system. Yeah. Because we cannot blame state. Yeah. The states cannot be wrong. Yeah. So what is the religion? What is the concept of Islam about state? Yeah. We do not recognize theocratic system. We do not recognize secular system. So what? According to Islam. According to Islam is Islamic state, or the concept that explained it before by Mr. Zaid. That is the concept of Islamic state. Yeah. That is the concept of Islamic state. Okay. The last one, about religion and constitution. Actually, this is my thesis topic, Mr. Zaid, when I studied in Magister. I did research about regulation of religion in the constitution, compared between Egypt religion and Indonesia religion. Yeah, so of course, the modern state cannot be separated from the constitution. Yeah, even United Kingdom, for example, that has not written constitution or document constitution, but according to constitutional theory, that UK also has unwritten constitution. Yeah, and then we cannot. The modern state cannot be separated from the constitution. They are not. This is the finding of my research. Yeah, of my research in Magister. There are two patterns of regulation of religion in the constitution, namely explicit constitutional and implicit constitutional. What is the implicit constitutional? I found this pattern in explicit constitutional in Egypt constitution. In Egypt constitution, as I said before, in Egypt constitution mention certain religion to be official religion for the state, and namely Islam. Islam also be the basis of legislation. And then explicitly, Islam is mentioned in Egypt constitution. Yeah. So what I mean by with explicit constitution, when certain religion is mentioned in constitution, that mean explicit constitutional. Yeah. So implicit constitutional, I found it in Indonesia. Undang-Undang Dasar 1945 don't mention mention certain religion. There is no certain religion in our constitution. The Article 29 only mention that the state based on one is God, or the one or the only God. But this article 29 is the basis for producing many regulations, many laws in Indonesia that related to religion. For example, such as the law of Hajj, the law of Haji, the law of Zakat, the law of the law of marriage, yeah, that is based on Islamic law, yeah. And then I mentioned that Indonesia actually regulate religion in its constitution, but in the pattern of implicit constitutional. Yeah. Okay. And the last one, because time is too limit. Yeah. I would like to end my short presentation today with the quote from Al-Ghazali. Yeah, Al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali said that maybe it's also related to the explanation from Mr. Zaid. Yeah. Political power is obligatory for world order. World order is mandatory for religious order. Religious order is obligatory for success in the hereafter. And then talking about state, not only talking about the world affair, but also our primary goal is how to bring us to hereafter. There are many. Why we need state? There are many. Islamic law cannot be implemented without state. The only state can implement the Islamic law. For example, jinayah, Islamic criminal law, only can be implemented by state. Yeah. That's why we need state. And the last word that I have to say is that there is no separation between religion and state in the Islamic perspective. I think that's all my presentation, my topic today. Yeah, maybe after this we can have maybe 10 minutes to discuss. Yeah, thank you for attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Bapak Ahmad Sazali for such a thorough understanding regarding the interrelationship between religion and state in the contemporary era, including the relation among human interaction, power and law, also the understanding of Islam, theocracy and scholarism, and the last one is regarding whether the modern state cannot be separated from the constitution based on the perspective of Islam as religion and its relation with the constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have reached the Q&A session. We will have a brief Q&A session for like 2 questions or 3 questions. Okay, so maybe like from the participants that want to ask a question, you can directly raise your hand or, yeah, okay. We have like one from the right side. Another one? Okay, yeah, while we wait for another, like we will hear from the first questioners. Please also mention your name, and if you have any specific speaker to address to, you can mention Bapak Ahmad Sazali or Bapak Dr. Zaid.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Anugrah Perdana. You can call me Dana or Aher. I would like to ask you about I would like to ask to Dr. Zaid Muhammad. My question is, in a modern constitutional law, we know that for now we have Tres politica, like executive, legislative, and judicative. But in a perspective of Chris Leroy, he said that there are any organs outside the Tres politica, like independence organ. My question is, are Islam have recognized the independent organ as a fourth branch of power in the state. That's my question. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Zaid, the question is specifically addressed to the Bapak. So like you can answer.
Excellent question. The question is about separation of power, right? Because in the modern constitution, powers are separated between legislative, parliament, executive, the government, and the judicial. And in a modern state, these three powers balance each other, you know, controlling each other. Check and balance. Some states completely separated. I'm not sure. In Indonesia, is the separation completed or not? Complete or not? In Malaysia, the separation of power is not complete. It's not complete because the executive, the government in the parliament, all ministers are in the parliament. You see, there is no separation of power. All ministers, including prime minister, is in the parliament. Member of parliament. Yes. So they are also executive. They are also executive. I think in Thailand, if you are ministers, you are appointed ministers, you must be out of parliament. So I think Indonesia is but not in Malaysia. And then another one, the judges in Malaysia are appointed by the prime minister. Why is that? No separation of power. You know, they say in Malaysia, theoretically and legally, the judges, including the chief judge, appointed by Yang di-Pertuan Agong, right? Appointed by Yang di-Pertuan Agong. But Yang di-Pertuan Agong executes according to the advice of Prime Minister. So, in other words, in reality, the one who appoint chief judge and judges are Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister is like more powerful than any other person. And there is no separation of, you may say that there is no separation of power in Malaysia. Because the Prime Minister indirectly control the judicial. The Prime Minister in the Parliament legislating the law, yeah. So there is no separation of power in Malaysia. But in some, many countries nowadays, they have complete separation of power. So they can check each other. This is in the modern state. The purpose of separation of power in modern state is that is checking and balance. So the legislators, the parliament observe the government observe the legislators, the parliament, and the parliament also observe the judicial, and judicial also observe both parliament and the government, right? In the Islamic state, your question is in the Islamic state, whether there is separation of power in the Islamic state. Okay. In the Islamic state, separation of power is not necessary. You see, I have already mentioned Article 1, Sahifa al-Madinah, Article 23, Sahifa al-Madinah, and Article 36, Sahifa al-Madinah. Article 1, the Prophet was legislator. Article 23, the prophet was a judge. And Article 36, the prophet was also the ruler, the executive. So, 3 powers in one hand. 3 powers in one hand. That was the practice of the prophet. But the only things in judiciary, according to the levels of courts, the executive, the head of state, is not allowed to interfere in judiciary only. In judiciary, I mean, when the prophet, but it's not completely. I mean, it is not a complete separation, because who appoints the judges? The prophet. Prophet appoints the judges. But after the appointment, then the prophet will not interfere. But before interfering, before having a case, who appointed the judges? Is the prophet. And prophet also executive, and the prophet also legislative. So, in other words, in Islamic constitution, separation of power is not necessary. The most important thing in Islamic constitution is that the implementation of Sharia. So it's not necessarily the separation of power. So as long as the head of state execute or implement the Sharia, then he can hold all the powers. But your question is, then who controls the head of state? It's the executive. That is your question, right? So if I can write, then it will be clear. But it's okay. I just by hand. Say this is the head of state. Yeah, is the head of state. In the modern constitution, this is executive. You have one judicial, another legislative. This controlling this controlling this, and this controlling this. Okay, so they control each other. Why they need the separation of power? Because they don't have God. Because they don't have God. You imagine the requirement of the head of state in the Islamic state, they must be a righteous person. The person who has iman. You know the power of iman? I can ask you, if you are given a woman in front of you naked, nude, okay, beautiful, why, the question is, and then the girl invited you to commit zina, but you don't do it. As a Muslim, you don't do it, right? Or you do it? If you don't have iman, you do it. But if you have iman, you will not do it. I'm telling you myself also, because I live in the Western countries. I live in UK for 6 years. If I want to commit zina in the Western, in the experience, I have more than I don't know how many times I have opportunity to do it. In fact, I want to do it. But I don't do it because of iman. So, the head of state, Islamic state, is controlled by God. Another, you know, the secular constitution, secular state, the modern secular state, you know, the head of state is controlled by side, right? By the left side and the right side, executive, legislative and judicial, controlling the head of state, right? But in Islam, who control the head of state? God. Because you have God. And this is more powerful than the right side and the left side. The human, right? And the other one, you are controlled by Ummah. You remember the Majlis Ashura? And this, you know that what is the jurisdiction of Majlis Ashura? Is to control the head of state. So you have powerful control, more powerful than the modern one. You have God to control him, and you get the Ummah to control him. So you don't need the separation of power like the modern time. Have I answered your question? Yeah. Other organs, okay. Other organs. The other organs which you have, because in the Islamic State, you don't have the parliament. But you have another organ, we call it Majlis Ashura. So Majlis Ashura, that's why I want to draw, but I cannot draw. Majlis Ashura is just on the side of, under the head of state, Majlis Ashura, because they are people, right? So it's under the head of state. And this body is not like a parliament. Parliament is there, right? Same level. Yeah. But Majlis Ashura is not same level. It's under the head of state. And the jurisdiction of Majlis Ashura is not to legislate, like parliament. So this is another body. It's different from parliament. Yeah, and then another body which is important under the head of state is military. It's military. Now, under Islam is under the modern state, military is under executive. Right? Ministers, right? Minister of Defense. But military in the Islamic State is directly under the head of state. Yeah. So there's another body. We call it, I forgot the name, Jewish, something like that. Okay.
May I, under 1 minute, maybe I just want to give another perspective maybe. Why in the Prophet era, the all power, as mentioned by Mr. Zaid, 3 powers in the hand of the Prophet Muhammad, legislative, executive, and judicative. Because don't forget that Muhammad is a prophet, the prophet who received revelation from God. Yeah, he brings Sharia. Yeah, I agree with Mr. Zaid's statement that separation of power depend on our need. For example, after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, so the era come to Khulafaur Rashidin era. Umar bin Khattab, when become caliph, he did separation of power. When he appointed Ali bin Abi Talib as a judge. And the most important thing that I want to add is about there is no conflict of interest between these powers. Yeah. When there is no intervention between this power. That is depend on our need. Yeah, maybe next year or next generation, not only 3 powers that we need. Yeah, as mentioned by who's? No. The theory come from Rousseau. Yeah, J.J. Rousseau. Yeah, 3 powers. Maybe we need 5, 4. Based on our need. There is, I agree that separation of power is not necessary, but depends on our need. Yeah, okay. That. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Zaid and also Bapak Ahmad Sazali. Ladies and gentlemen, due to limited time, I have to close our discussion today. Thank you once again to our distinguished speakers, Dr. Zaid. It's such an honor for having you here, sir, and hope you we will have another another session with you in the future, sir. Yeah. And we also learned a lot from you, sir, for today's season, and also to Bapak Ahmad Sazali for giving us also the current understanding of the modern Islamic constitutional law. Thank you also to all of our participants today that actually actively participated in our main agenda today. As the moderator of today's agenda, I apologize if there is any inconvenience in moderating the discussion. Thank you once again. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Cek tes pengumuman sekali lagi pengumuman.